All right, let's get right into it, because what we're looking at today, it's not just some machine. We're actually going to be dissecting an argument, a full-blown conflict that was literally given a physical form. This is the story of how a war of ideas became, well, a monster made of steel.
And this quote right here from the source material, it just hits the nail on the head. It's the perfect way to start, because it really captures the essence of what we're about to unpack. You gotta understand, this thing isn't just a powerful bad guy. It's more like a living prison where two mortal enemies are trapped, forced to coexist as a single being.
And that right there, that's the main idea we're going to dig into. This dual core cyborg, it's the physical outcome of a philosophical debate. I mean, think about it. Every single gear, every circuit, it's like a word in a sentence. And that sentence spells out nothing but pure, horrifying irony.
So, if we're going to understand the machine, we have to start with the war that created it. And this wasn't your typical war with armies and soldiers. No. This was a war of ideas, a clash of pure will that needed some kind of crucible, some chaotic event to forge it into something terrifyingly real.
And at the absolute center of this whole thing are two people. On one side, you've got this human physicist, Dr. Eris Thorne, a guy who is completely convinced that all life is meaningless. And on the other side, an alien powerhouse, Voth-Khan, who, get this, used to be known as the prophet of nihilism himself. Now he's fighting against the exact same darkness he once preached. The collision between these two? That is the spark that ignites this whole mess.
So let's properly meet these two architects of annihilation. It's so important to see them as more than just a simple hero and a villain. They are the living, breathing embodiments of two warring philosophies. They're basically the twin engines driving this entire story.
And this table here lays it all out, side by side. It's perfect. You've got Dr. Thorne, who's a nihilist by choice, and his contribution? A genocidal device. And then you have Voth-Khan, a nihilist by past, and his contribution is a heroic blast of energy. So one guy brings cold, calculated tech to destroy everything, and the other brings raw, untamed power to save it. I mean, talk about a perfect storm.
Okay, so you have this abstract war of ideas, right? But that's one thing. For that debate to actually become flesh and steel, well, it needed a catalyst. It needed one single moment of pure, violent, uncontrolled chaos. It needed that crucible we mentioned.
And that brings us to this key concept, chaotic synthesis. This was not a planned birth. The cyborg is a total accident, a consequence nobody saw coming. It's basically a masterpiece of creation that was born from an act of pure destruction. You can't get more ironic than that. So you're probably wondering, how did this actually happen? Well, it pretty much breaks down into 3 steps. First, you've got Thorne's device, which just floods this old nuclear facility with its unique tech signature. Second, Voth-Khan tries to be the hero and stop it, but in doing so, he unleashes this massive kryptonite energy blast, a real heroic blunder. And third, that collision creates this insane, violent feedback loop, an uncontrolled reaction that ends up being the accidental blueprint for a monster.
So what does this paradoxical blueprint actually look like? Well, it is literally mirrored in the cyborg's anatomy. We're going to go inside the machine now, and what we find isn't one heart, but two warring hearts. It's like a technological hydra, powered by two forces that are complete opposites.
Let's look at the first power core. This thing is basically the living, corrupted legacy of Voth-Khan. It was created when his own biology, which was saturated with nuclear fuel, had a violent reaction with the anti-Kryptonian energy from his own blast. And the irony here is just staggering. Voth-Khan's own life force accidentally perfected the one thing Thorne's genius could only dream of for his doomsday device, a stable, perpetual nuclear reaction, a hero's essence providing endless energy for a monster. Wow.
And then you have the second core. This is pure, distilled Dr. Thorne. It's a miniaturized version of his giant quantum flux capacitor. Think about that. A piece of tech designed specifically to radiate and kill millions has been twisted and transformed into the contained, beating heart of this new creature. It's what provides the controlled power for the cyborg's weapons, its nuclear fission blasts, which were made to perfectly mirror and counter Voth-Khan's powers.
So, you see the crucial point, right? It's all about this internal war. You've got one core that's the twisted legacy of a hero's sacrifice, and the other core is a repurposed apocalypse, a villain's doomsday weapon given a new life. The cyborg is literally powered by the constant, grinding conflict between these two hearts.
It's a war that can never, ever end, because that war is its power source.
And all of this brings us to the ultimate point of this creature. Its very existence guarantees that the ideological war that started everything can never really be over. The fight just evolved. It's morphed into a new, terrifyingly physical form.
Yeah, this quote really just says it all. In the most horrifying way possible, the cyborg is Thorne's victory. His philosophy of meaningless destruction didn't just win, it became immortal. And that's the final chilling takeaway here. The cyborg is Thorne's argument made flesh. It's a literal, physical duplicate of the nihilism he preached. And the sickest part? It's animated by the life force of Vath Khan, the guy who used to be the prophet of nihilism and now has to face a perfected, weaponized version of the very thing he tried so hard to escape. The conflict isn't a debate anymore. It is the cyborg. Its very existence is the war.
So, where does that leave us? Well, with a really tough question. Vath Khan won the battle, right? He saved the city. But his victory created this perfect reflection of his own darkest past, a weaponized version of the very nihilism he escaped. So it makes you wonder, if a hero's victory creates his darkest reflection, what does it truly mean to win?